Hey Chicago, welcome to another monthly market update. We're going to be checking out January 2023 and see how the first month of the new year wrapped up. Stay tuned.
Welcome to another local market update with Rick Batista.
We'll be covering some information and data both nationally and locally here in Chicago, covering Chicago proper, the 77 areas of Chicago. We'll also be diving deeper into some of the different neighborhoods and areas of Chicago. As always, let's start off with a fun fact.
Fun facts, market time.
The U.S. housing market began the year in a state of rebalance, with many buyers and sellers remaining cautious while they wait to see where the market is headed. Nationally, pending sales rose 2.5% month to month, marking the first increase since May, while sales of existing homes fell 1.5% as of last measure, according to the National Association of Realtors, or NAR. Demand for housing persists, but higher mortgage interest rates have cut into housing affordability, with total home sales down 17.8% last year compared to 2021. New listings in the city of Chicago were up 1.3% for detached homes, but were down 29.3% for attached properties, attached being condos and townhomes. Listings under contract decreased 30.2% for detached homes and 35.6% for attached properties. The median sales price was down 10% to $261,000 for detached homes and 0.4% to $332,500 for attached properties. Month supply of inventory increased 39.4% for detached units, but it decreased 3.4% for attached units. As sales slow, time on market is increasing, with the average home spending 26 days on the market as of last measure, according to the NAR. Seller concessions have made a comeback, giving buyers more time and negotiating power when shopping for a home. Although home prices remain high, mortgage rates declined steadily throughout January, falling to their lowest level since September, sparking a recent surge in mortgage demand. Lower rates should aid in affordability and may soon lead to an uptick in market activity ahead of the spring selling season. To add some of our own notes here, we just wanted to point out that we have so much information and data available to us now, probably more than ever in the history of humanity, yet there seems to be so much confusion. I think there's just too much information out there sometimes, and a lot of misinformation, and more importantly, a lot of very confusing headlines. My goal here is to keep you as informed as possible and make sure that we're putting in this in a way that could be easily understood. So let's actually cover some information that's behind all of the scary news headlines and hopefully provide a little bit more peace of mind for you. So these are some of the things that we do know. The housing market today is not the same as what we saw in 2008. Everybody thinks, especially going into this new year, that we were going to be going into another bubble like 2008, but that's simply not the case. Totally different circumstances overall. Foreclosures did rise in 2022, but still far less than pre-pandemic times. Keep in mind that there was a moratorium in place and far less foreclosure filings, etc. And thanks to increased equity and mortgage companies' efforts to help homeowners and other factors that help minimize the foreclosures. It's always unfortunate that foreclosures do have to happen, but that's unfortunately a fact of life. It all depends on the situation of the person or the household that's going through that not so fun experience. But again, the reality is that they are bound to happen. If you or you know someone who is going through a foreclosure or close to facing a possible foreclosure, please have them reach out to us. We do have a great deal of experience dealing with foreclosures, short sales, and just difficult situations overall. So we'd love to have a conversation and see if there's something that we can do to make it a less painful process. Moving along here, mortgage rates are going down overall. Some weeks they're a little higher, some weeks they're a little lower. But the peak certainly seems to be behind us. I think the highest point that it reached was around middle of November or so of 2022. Hopefully that downward trend will continue through the spring market and the rest of the year, and maybe even through 2024. We'll just have to wait and see. But that's certainly a hope and what we're anticipating at this point in time. Properties priced right have a much better chance of selling relatively quickly, and we'll definitely touch on that in greater detail in just a little bit. Even though rates are higher than they were a year ago, they are trending downward, as I said, since November 2022. Right now, where the rates are, we're definitely in a period of good buyer demand. As that downward trend continues, we're most likely to see a shift to a strong buyer demand, bringing more buyers and more serious and active buyers onto the market. Yes, the fact is that properties have a longer market time right now. They're sitting in the market longer, and overall we do have more supply. We actually had and have more inventory in 2022 and 2023 so far versus the craziness of 2020 and 2021, but not more than pre-pandemic times, looking back to 2017 through 2019. However, what we don't have enough of is new inventory. We do know that limited supply of homes out there has helped keep the prices from plummeting. And as the spring market approaches and we either have brand new properties at the market or properties that didn't sell last year and they re-enter the market, that should help fill that low inventory bucket. But we still need more inventory because there are buyers actively looking. And as those rates lower, we're bound to see more buyers creating more competition, especially for the new properties, the fresh new properties hitting the market. Now to talk more about the properties that have been sitting in the market, we covered this in our Valentine's Day weekly market update where we compared real estate to love. Please check that video out if you're interested in learning more about that. And as we covered, sellers, I'm going to talk to you right now. Please look at me right here. Sellers, there needs to be a great deal of self-reflection on your part. Those sellers that have their properties sitting in the market right now and they've been on there for quite some time. We need to be real with what the property is worth in today's market and for today's buyers. Today's buyers have certain expectations. And to be honest, we're not passing any judgment on you whatsoever because everybody has their own personal situations going on and financial situations. But if you haven't made any updates within the last 10 years, chances are you're not going to fetch what your neighbor can. The neighbor has invested into their property and prepared it for sale in today's market. What we don't need right now is more overpriced inventory. That's absolutely a no-no. We got plenty of that stuff sitting out there. As we suggested in our weekly market update earlier this week, have a trusted family member or friend or even a realtor come by and take a look at your property, have them walk through as if they were a picky buyer and give some honest feedback. Take that feedback, then ask yourself, if I were buying this home, how much would I be willing to pay for it? And please, throughout this process, be real with yourselves. Be real with the numbers. I know you may be emotionally attached to the property, but there's so much information out there. Buyers have a great deal of knowledge thanks to all the resources out there. And you do too, not just them. Everybody has access to all this information and data. Just be honest with the situation at hand and the numbers and price it right, sell, move on. If you're not ready to do so, then you might want to hang on to it a little bit longer until hopefully the market will get in a place where you'll sell at the price that you're hoping to get. But if you're ready to use that equity and the equity that you have in your home in your favor, I want to tell you something that's extremely important. Please, please, please do listen and please do take this seriously. Whether you're hiring us or you're working with any other broker, the second you hit the market overpriced, you immediately become vulnerable. The days of let's hit the market considerably higher and leave some room for negotiation or a lot of room for negotiation are simply over. I can't stress that enough. I really can't stress enough. That's plain and simple. Those days are over. From mid-2020 and through 2021, the marketing price was basically the starting price. That was all the auction and bidding frenzy, or auction frenzy and bidding wars. But nowadays, I'd say it's fairly safe to give no more than a 5% buffer zone. You give a little bit room for negotiation. But I think if you go over 5%, and it all depends on the property and the location and all that stuff, and a lot of other factors, but I think overall a safe buffer zone is 5%. But price it right, and your home will sell in a much shorter market time than if you overprice it. Again, if you didn't check out that weekly market update, we go into even greater detail, so check that out. We'll put the link down below. Now, let's jump into what you've been waiting for, the numbers. This information and data is provided by the Chicago Association of Realtors. It is for residential activity only. The data is current as of February 14th, 2023, and covers January 2023. Again, the entire city of Chicago, all the 77 areas proper, those areas right behind me. Within each area, there's several neighborhoods. I think there's probably close to 180 different neighborhoods. But here we go. Entire city of Chicago, new listings was down for all properties by 19.5%, closed sales down by 41%, and inventory of homes down by 11.7%. This report does cover both detached and attached single-family homes. For this video, we'll just be covering detached single-family homes. If you'd like a copy of this report or any of the other reports that we'll be talking about, feel free to reach out to us. Call, text, email. I'd be more than happy to share these PDF files with you. So covering the detached single-family market in Chicago. New listings, we wrapped up the month with 1,260, which was up by 1.3% year over year. And Since this is the first month of the new year, year-to-date numbers are going to be the same as January's numbers. Closed sales, we wrapped up the month with 461, down considerably, nearly 40% year over year. Under contract, those are homes that are contingent or pending. We wrapped up the month with 613, down by 30.2% year over year. Median sales price, $261K, which was 10% less than last year. And the average sales price, it's at $364,305, down by 13.3% year over year. Percent of original list price received, 94.2%, not too shabby. Chicago doing really well there. That is down by 2.5% year over year. And market time, 71 versus 61, an uptick of 22.2%. And inventory of homes for sale, we wrapped up the month with 2,297, up by 15% year over year. Forgot to mention one report, which is very important, something that people have been thinking about and keeping an eye on lately. We're going to dive back into specific areas in just a moment. But the lender mediated report, this covers properties that are foreclosed, REO, pre-foreclosure, or short sale, bank-owned or soon-to-be bank-owned properties. I will tell you the percentage is higher than we've seen in the last 4 months, or comparing to the last 4 months, but I will also explain that. Let's not freak out just yet. The share of closed sales that were lender mediated, 4%. December was 2.7%, November 2.4%, October 1.7%, and September 2.2%. But I do want to point out that there were less sales overall. If you were to look at all the closed sales throughout Chicago in the same time frame, there were less this past January versus the January before in 2022. So that 4%, although higher, it is a higher number based on a lesser total number. So let's not get alarmed just yet. Now we get to the Muy Caliente section where we talk about specific areas that have been doing well. Let's get going here. Avondale, Muy Caliente, with 6 closed sales. Percent of original list price received was 96.1%. They had a median sales price of $667,500. Again, median sales price is not the average sales price. That's the number that's smack dab in the middle. Higher, equal number of homes sold for higher and equal number sold for less than that number. Edgewater, with 2 closed sales in the month of January, 96.5% of the original list price was received, with a median sales price of $813.5. Irving Park, Muy Caliente, with 10 closed sales, 95.9%, a median sales price of $646,250. Jefferson Park, Muy Caliente, with 98.1%, $278,750, the median sales price. Lincoln Park, my old stomping grounds, 5 closed sales with 98.7%, $2.1 million median sales price. Lincoln Square, definitely a fun place to hang out. Great restaurants and shops. 2 sales with 98% of original list price received. $700K, the median sales price. Logan Square, Muy Caliente, awesome neighborhood with a cool vibe and some great grub. 8 closed sales, 96.5%, $895K, median sales price. Near North Side, 2 sales, 97.1%, with a median sales price of $1.6325. And North Center, including my hometown, Roscoe Village, RV represent. 5 closed sales with 98.6%, $1.35 median sales price. North Park, 3 closed sales with 96.9% of original list price received. Median sales price of $454K. And West Ridge, a neighborhood I called home for 20 years up until 2020. 7 closed sales, 94.9%, and $360K median sales price. So what does all this information mean to you? I don't know. All depends on what your situation is. And the only way we're going to find out is by having a conversation. If you're watching, you're thinking of selling, or you know somebody who is, please contact me. Let's start a conversation. Maybe you've outgrown your current home. Maybe you've got too much home now and don't want to pay for all the expenses and upkeep. Maybe you bought over the last couple of years and perhaps you rushed into a home during the frenzy of the pandemic and just doesn't meet your needs anymore. Maybe you're looking to buy because you're tired of renting and you've seen those rental prices climbing. Maybe you own and it just makes sense to sell and rent for now until you decide to relocate out of state in the next year or 2 or 3. Whatever your situation is, we're here to have a meaningful conversation with you. And please know that we will never, ever, ever push you into buying or selling unless we listen to all your needs and we believe that it's something that makes sense for you and your current and future needs and goals. So there's a lot of confusion on your end, or you're just looking for some more answers, looking for some more insight and information to help guide you towards a better decision, you can always reach out to us. I appreciate you spending your time with me today. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll catch you next time.